now. And so again, what I want to do is give you just a little background on us, give you a little bit of background on our product, okay, our products. I'll run through the features, and then I'll demo it for you. Now, I do kind of want to talk a little bit about Digitek because I'd like to get an understanding of what your target market is, if it's geographical or if you target a particular vertical or horizontal. I'd like to understand, what your target market, what your target customers are, and that way when we go to market, maybe our messaging and the promotions that we do, will help line up with your target market, right?
Yep.
Yep. Because it doesn't make sense if we're trying to promote to the wrong people, So,
Right.
So let me run through this and go ahead and ask questions. After I go through the first slide on our background, I'm going to ask about your background to give us a little level set of where you're coming from, and then we'll dive into the product. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So there's an interesting thing that you may not be aware of. We are celebrating our 10-year anniversary right now. But we started with residential builders. Okay. So back in 2008, when the housing market was booming, we decided to jump in, and there's a need in residential construction for CRM. I mean, there's competitors out there, but they were struggling. Builders were struggling, and the economy was not very good. So we started the company in 2008 to focus on CRM and marketing for construction, for builders, and we started with home builders. We grew the company over the last 10 years to, basically cover the U.S. and some of Canada. And it ramped up to 300 or so builders, and there's more in there, but they're not all active. And then 5,500, maybe even getting closer to 6,000 users now. And then so eventually, we expanded, and I'll talk about this in a second with the commercial product. But now we vary in sizes from very small home builders or remodelers to big commercial construction companies that do, $1 billion in sales. And this didn't really actually happen by accident. We all have a background in CRM or construction. Eric's been in residential construction for a long time. I was in CRM for a long time, and I have an engineering degree and was involved in construction for many years. And it just was a really nice fit. That's kind of where we are, and I'll talk about the products in a second. But it is important for you to know we are located in Houston, but we travel and we're all over the place, and we're sort of like an independent company. We don't have any investors. We don't have multiple owners. It's basically clean and simple. So you don't have to worry about us going into financial, debt or having some problems. We're fine. And the other part of that is we only answer to ourselves, so, we're not having to, if you need something, we can get it for you without having to go through a lot of red tape. And that includes your customers as well. Your customers will be able to come straight to us and work with us directly, and we'll be able to take care of them. Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So tell us real quick about Digitek.
So Digitek is a Sage partner reseller. All the products we sell are Sage's products, primarily just their construction stuff. So their estimating software, takeoff software, and then their Sage 100 contractor and the 300 CRE is the primary focus. we obviously work with other third-party vendors that are like yourself, whether it's remote time entry or, timber scans, AP approval process and things like that. So to build relationships and be a reseller for other products that work with our core is nothing new to us. Back in the day, we looked at Sage CRM, I think Sales Logics, some of those, and wasn't a fan of them, to be honest with you. So we never kind of took them on as a reseller. I thought they were kind of expensive and kind of, I don't know, clunky. It's just, I don't know if that's the right word, but too busy. You know what I mean? Not easy to use. And it seems like the user wants something that's powerful. They kind of want it all, something powerful but extremely user friendly and so forth and so on. So, typically when CRMs come our way, we have, outsourced it to other partners that do retail. Other Sage partners, they do the Sage CRM. I ran into that company called Cosential down at an event for Procore, and they told us that they integrate. So I've had their card and had them in on a few demos, and then we were introduced to you via the Sales Huddle the other time. And for me, it just I'd rather focus on one CRM that's good for our customers, across the board, so I don't have to know a bunch of different ones, and just kind of focus on one, just like we do with our own products itself. So that's what made me interested in it at first. And then as far as Digitek goes, we've been in business since early 2000s, so 15, 16 years almost. So originally was owned by Brant Wadsworth, and Brant partnered up with two consultants named Lily and Danny. I won't go into the business of that, but Brant was bought out quite a few years ago. And then just recently, Danny was bought out. So we have a sole owner named Lily Holston, and her husband is kind of our president. They're the ones that I want on this, but they're a little busier, and I think they got pulled away. I run I've been with them almost 12 years, so I run all of our sales division. So I'm their vice president of sales, and kind of am the one that first put Zoho into place. I implemented it myself just because I needed something from the sales end, and they obviously trust our decisions. And kind of the problem with Zoho is we don't use it fully as a company, right? IT has their own piece, our professional services or consulting group has their own piece, and Sage 300 and service management they use, and we're just very disconnected. So we find ourselves having to communicate, which we're small enough to do. So we have roughly 20 employees, but I just thought, even if this integrates or does anything for us as a company, we still would need something. We're in the midst of using Zoho, and Zoho's decent, but you have to go get the campaigns module, which we actually just did, to start being able to market to our customers, through the campaigns and email templates and stuff like that. And then I kind of ran into you guys, and then after talking to Eric and you a little bit about what you do, I was like, man, I wonder if I could use this not only to use it internally, but also if I'm using it internally, I'll be able to know how to demo it very well and know all about how to use it for all of our existing customers as a reseller anyhow. So
Perfect.
That's kind of where we're at. We have around, our customers range from the state of Washington down through Texas. So we cover quite a large geographical area. We don't get into California as much. That's kind of on its own, but all of kind of the Midwest, west to the California border we'll cover. And then we have spotty customers, some back in Canada and some back east and stuff like that. But we don't really market those as much. Most of our leads will come through those 10 or so states, from north to south, Washington down to Texas. And we have roughly, our current base of customers is maybe just under 2,000 existing customers that we support.
Okay.
So we aren't Sage's biggest partner like Alliance, Cordant, but we're one of their bigger partners. We were in their CEO circle last year, so we do a pretty good job as far as our size goes, and obviously looking to grow.
That's awesome. So now the types of, since you mentioned you're focusing really on Sage 100 contractor, Sage 300 CRE, you're only focusing on the probably the subcontractors and general contractors, but it sounds like probably mainly the subcontractors.
We'll do it all, right? So we have subs, the general, and the developer.
Okay.
And then we'll even do residential home builders. We get a lot of leads from Sage for residential home builders, believe it or not. The problem is our Sage 100 isn't a great tool for, I mean, it handles the home building, GL, and the job costing side, but it's a little bit cumbersome to handle. So have you guys ever heard of Homefront?
We have.
Yeah, so that's kind of the only tool I know of for the residential, that kind of handles that integrates over to the Sage systems. Interested to see if you guys do that or what the options are. But again, those are things that we come across. But typically I would outsource that to Homefront just because, and I'm not obligated to them by any means, but it's just that's the only one I knew of for the home builder.
Yeah, so let me show you real quickly on this slide. We do the International Builder Show every year, and Homefront. We've got interfaces and partnerships with companies very similar to Homefront, and then Homefront approached us in January at the International Builder. There you can see them right there on our website.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a
work with them.
It's a new partnership, but it is an integration partnership that we have with them. And,
okay.
So that's good. I'm glad you brought them up. I'll talk about the residential part of it as well, on how we serve the residential builders. It's different than maybe what you think because we're not managing construction jobs. We're managing the sale of a home, which is a little different. But I'll explain it to you. We'll cover that. So, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No.
Okay. So did you decide that Cosentral wasn't the one that you wanted to work with because they are our competitor?
I have never sold a Cosentral deal. They've been in on 3 or 4 demos, but for some reason the customer, 2 of them went with Salesforce.
Okay.
And they just never won the deal, so I've never experienced it. And no, I'm not obligated to Cosentral. Again, I ran into them at a trade show for Procore.
Yeah.
And for me, I wasn't a big fan of the Sage product, the Sage Sales Logic, Sage CRM. So I was actually out there looking for something to give me some options. That's when I came across Cosentral. For me, I didn't care because it's always an added piece to the puzzle that customers want,
right.
And I've got to find it for them anyway. That's why,
right.
I would love to find one that kind of fit the needs of what people were looking for, and I could just focus on that. I don't want to have to know about all the products and what they do or actually rely on 3 or 4 vendors. I'd rather just have one person that I can count on and just be like, hey, anytime you talk CRM, let's go to TopBuilder or
very good.
Whatever it may be.
Well, was that the Procore Groundbreak in Austin? Was that the one you were at when you saw Cosentral?
It was.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm curious because we're in Austin as a shoot. I rode my bike from Houston to Austin 2 weeks ago. Actually, it's close, and we have a partnership with Procore, and I was just curious because we've been invited to Groundbreak, and we didn't go last year, but I think maybe we'll reconsider that. Okay, so let me run through the product and show it to you, and hopefully this will be that product that you think is a fit for your customers. I think you'll get excited about it when you see it. One of the things that I do want to make sure you're aware of is we're constantly innovating and adding to it. So even though we've been around 10 years, I have a vision for the CRM product, and it's really becoming much more than CRM. It's becoming much more of a tool for builders just because they need all kinds of things that they can't get, today. CRM is obviously the big component of that, but they're not able to track their bids properly, which is not typically a CRM function. You know, they don't have
Right.
a good way of taking everything that they have in terms of what's in the pipeline and then what's a real job in Sage and putting it on a job board or a financial forecast. They don't have those things because you can only find a lot of that in the CRM tool or in Sage or accounting, but it's not in one place. But we synchronize all that information with Sage, and then they can put it on a job board and a financial forecast, and they love it because I mean we talk to our customers and they go like, man, it takes me 4 to 6 weeks to put that report together every quarter, and
Yeah.
now they get it with the push of a button. So I'll show it to you,
Cool.
and hopefully you'll dig it, and we'll see where this goes.
Okay.
All right, so real quickly, the products we have, again, we have the commercial product, and really I think what we're talking about today is the commercial product. And we have the residential product. The residential product was the original product that was rolled out in 2011. I did say we started in 2008, but we spent a few years building out the product before we actually took it to market. So it was officially launched in 2011, and that's for selling a home. Okay, that's not for selling a job, that's for selling a home. And so realtors use it, to sell new homes. And then the commercial product is targeted for the other audiences, the subcontractors, the service providers, the general contractors, the developers. And then if you're a residential builder doing some construction work and you're selling jobs, we have a lot of builders that are residential builders, but they're doing all the lighting for a community, or they're doing all the roofs for a community, or they were hired to come in from a developer, and
Yeah.
and they're selling a job. They're not actually selling a home. So they're selling their services to the developer. And that's what the commercial product is focused on, is managing the jobs, managing the bids, managing the proposals, and then all the things that come after that, the workflow, the follow-up, the contracts, the bid, everything around the job. So that's what the commercial product is about. And that's really what we're going to demo here today, unless you think I should do something else. So the way we have, we look at the world, we try to look at the world from a CRM perspective, the way a builder looks at the world. A builder looks at the world through three, really maybe four phases. They're working the opportunity, and it could be a potential job that they know is out there on the horizon somewhere, and they're working it. And the goal is to get it to the next phase, which is the bidding phase, or the request for bid, or the bid opportunity phase. And so we help them manage the leads, manage the documents, manage the next steps. Of course, they have all the customer information, all the contact information, all the history, all the work that they've ever done for a customer, because as you know, most of these customers are repeat customers for commercial builders. They get the same work from the same GC or the same owner or the same developer over and over and over again. And so having history in there on all the jobs that you've ever done for them, every email that you sent, every phone call you made, every bid you submitted is all part of that first phase as well. It's there. So hopefully they get invited to up the bid. I call the party the bid to submit a bid, and they get a bid opportunity, or they get a request for a quote, and they change the status in the system, and then everything changes. It becomes a real bidding opportunity. Alerts and reminders go off. Follow-up plans are added with, reminders that people need to do things. It may even include an email to the customer, an automated drip campaign to the customer to say, thank you for the opportunity. We're working on it. And then as you move them through the process, like you submitted the bid, same thing. You're going to add new workflow, customer will be reminded a couple days later that that bid's in their inbox. You'll get alerts when they receive the bid and all that kind of stuff. Um, then hopefully what happens is you move them into, an awarded job. And then once the job has been awarded, that's what triggers the information to go over to Sage. Okay. And so because it's a real job now, and now Sage needs to take it and apply all the job cost accounting stuff. I'll just leave it at that because I don't know everything that happens in there, but the job goes there so that they can start applying invoices. There may be multiple phases of the job. The customer information, the contact information will be there. And then Sage will send us updates on that job, as the status changes, maybe as the start and end dates of the job change, because they'll change. And, because you're applying work order, change orders to the job, and that changes the end date, but it also changes, Mike, the financials. And so, the financials of that job will change from an original contract amount to a revised contract amount, which is more because they've added to the scope or they have a change order. And that way, when you run your reports and your forecasts, you get a good reflection of what's going on. Okay. And so Sage is updating us back after those changes occur. And then, of course, when the job is completed, you add new workflow and next steps because you're going to follow up on that job to get the next bid opportunity, hopefully. But many of these jobs, as you know, have a service contract that hangs off the end of it. If it's new construction and it's a roofer and they want to go get that service contract, which is typically 2 years out, they want to go after that. And so they'll get reminders and alerts to say, hey, you completed this job on this date. It's time to go get a service contract out of it. And then we have the property owner in there and the building owner. The building owner and the property manager so that they can market to them after the job is done too. Okay. So I hope you're getting the idea that this is CRM, but this is CRM very specific for construction. We're talking about bids and start dates and end dates for the job. It's very focused on the way the builder views their world, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to continue to do, is focus on those type of folks. Okay, so that's the CRM component. Now, hey, let me make sure, did you get a copy of our handout, Mike? Did Eric send you that handout we have?
I got to go look at his email. Are you talking about the NDA?
No, we have a handout. Go ahead. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, well, the NDA and the agreement as well, Mike. But it's a flyer. It's one of the attachments I sent. It's something you can forward around to customers. It's
I think I can take that one and forward it on. Yeah.
Okay. So, Mike, you mentioned in your introduction about the pricing and making sure it's proper for your customers. That flyer, we're very transparent on our pricing, okay? And that flyer has the pricing on it. It's right there. And there's no wiggle room on that, or I should say uncertainty, and we're right up front with the price. The only thing that's not on there is what the volume discount is after you get over 10 users. But, that's only a benefit to the customer, right? That's nothing we're hiding from them, really. It's just a nice to have because once they get over 10 users, they get a discount. But you'll notice we're affordable, and I know we're a lot more affordable than Cosential and certainly more affordable than a Salesforce or anything else. And then the beautiful thing is everything we're talking about today is included in that pricing, but also is everything else that we're rolling out. So all the different features that we're adding is included. I'm not going to say that we may roll out something in the future that we'll charge separately for, but to date, all the features and functions are included in that one subscription. Okay. So that's important for our customers to know and for your customers to know. Okay, so now we have the bid tracking component, and the bid tracking component is really very important for subcontractors because they're often managing multiple bids for the same job. And GCs do it as well, but mainly for the subs, they're getting requests to bid for multiple owners or multiple GCs or multiple developers, and they have to manage all those bids knowing that it's all for the same job. And that way their forecasts and their reports, their bid performance reports, tracking reports all reflect that it's one job. And then if they win one of them, the other bids don't show up as a loss. They just show up as kind of a non-issue. They didn't lose it, but they didn't win it. It just kind of becomes a history. And it was actually a one. They won the bid because the GC awarded it to them, and they move on. And then like I said, all the reports and the bid performance reports and everything are reflect that. Okay. There's a real fancy and a proposal builder that supplements all of this, and I'll demo that for you. That really just demos well, and it doesn't do it justice to talk about it on a slide, but it's real handy to be able to manage multiple documents and templates and have standardized way of submitting your proposals, and then you just add those proposals right to those documents right to the proposals, and it automatically generates your proposal from multiple documents into one single PDF or one single proposal that you can email and track. So we're proud of that. It's cool, and I'll show it to you. So, all right, and now we have the branded email marketing. Again, this is not traditionally part of CRM. You mentioned with Zoho, you had to buy the campaign module. I assume that's what this is, kind of like. We don't charge extra for it, but it is a way of targeting your emails to certain demographics, but also put them on drip campaigns. Automatically send them emails every now and then as part of a plan. Some of our customers call it a keep in touch campaign, because again, their customers are usually repeat customers. They're sending them work on a continuous basis, and they want to stay in front of them, especially. And I was just talking to a building owner yesterday. He owns a bunch of optical eye care buildings, where they have their retail eye care outlets. And I was asking him about it, and he said, "Yeah, I'm the building owner, but I also operate the eye care facility." And I asked him about this, and I said, "Well, what if you spring a leak in your roof? Well, what happens?" And he goes, "Well, I got to go find somebody to fix it." And I go, "You don't know who put that roof in?" He goes, "Well, I do know who put that roof in because the general contractor gave me a document that says here's all the people that did your HVAC and your plumbing and your parking lot and everything like that. But those folks that did the roof aren't interested in service work, or they're gone, or they're busy, or whatever. They're out of business. And so I've got to go chase down somebody to fix my roof." And this allows roofers or plumbers or HVAC folks or landscapers or parking lot people, whoever the trade is or the builder is, can stay in front of these building owners because they've got them in the database. And then when something happens, they've got an email sitting in there and say, "Okay, we have a problem." And usually those problems are ones where you need them fixed right away. They know who to call, which is brilliant. All right, so we have that. Of course, there's tons of tracking and reporting around all this. And all the activities are integrated with CRM. So if they open an email, it's in CRM. If they click on a link on an email to go to your website, it's in CRM. So you have it there for your contacts, your customers, and your jobs. Of course, we have the interface to accounting. I can talk to you about this in a lot of detail, but in a sense, what it does is it keeps your customers, your contacts, your jobs, your work orders in sync between CRM and Sage in your case. So new jobs go into Sage, updated jobs come back, customers go to Sage, new customers come back, We keep the contact information in sync. It's beautiful between the two systems the way it works. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to get on a plane and go over to Tug today. I'm going to the user conference today and hopefully be able to show this to a lot of people while I'm there. And Digitek's not going to be there. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll be able to see you there next year or another time. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be there. It's our first one.
Yeah. Get a lot of users out there, so
a lot of users, and I'm getting a lot of emails. It's hard to keep up with it all, but and it's sold out. I tried to get a hotel room, and I can't get a hotel room there. So it's obviously a big deal. Anyways, we are members of Tug, by the way. Obviously, we signed up for Tug, and we are members of the user group. Okay, so there's reporting and dashboards. Again, we'll just present that to you, and you'll get it. Now, we do have implementation services and professional services. Eric is a really good trainer, and this is for on-site implementation and training. That is something that we charge for. You know, we support is ongoing and part of your subscription if it's online, but on-site work we charge for that. And that would be part of Digitek's agreement. You know, if we're doing professional services for a customer, or if we do it through you, or we can be an extension of your professional services, you know, you're getting a cut of that for sure. Right. So,
right.
Okay. I'll stop talking and I'll start getting into the demo then. If you don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and dive in.
Nope, no questions.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to share my browser, and right now it's going to be Digitek on there.
Don't judge us on our website. We're in the midst of building a whole new one, so
okay.
I hate our website.
That's interesting because we're doing the same. Did you find a web development company?
Yeah, we're in the midst of the design portion right now, like, you know, what tabs and what information and how's it, like this guy that built these blocks, and I just hate them. You know, it's like so busy and like someone vomited. So, well,
it's hard. It does load slowly, I think, with all that stuff on it.
Yeah,
maybe, but I'd be interested if you have a good experience with them. Will you send them will you refer them to us, because we're going to rebuild our website as well.
Sure.
We built ours ourselves because, you know, we're software developers, but
yep.
I don't want to be in the business of building websites. It's not a good use of our time. You know, we have to upload content. I mean, you even mentioned to me you didn't see a lot of our partners on there, and that's because we have to roll out a new version of the website every time we want to update the content. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want Eric to be able to say, okay, we have Digitek as a partner. Let me upload their information and not have to deal with it. So, yeah, I mean, if you have a good experience, let me know, and I'd like to talk to them.
For sure.
Assuming they're not cost prohibitive as well, you know.
Yeah, no, I think these guys are, you know, we've gone through quite a few, let's just put it that way, you know, from the cost perspective to just getting the vision of what we wanted to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Simplification of how we wanted to present our website and what we don't like about our current one and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'd be curious to hear how that goes. Okay. So I'll log in real quickly as the Sage user. And what you're going to see right away is a dashboard. And the dashboard is, you know, there to tell you what's going on in your world. You know, what leads are you working on? What are your activities or next steps? What does your pipeline look like? A funnel chart of jobs. So most of our customers, you know, they break their jobs down by type. So you'll have new construction, you may have service work, you may have warranty work, preventative maintenance work, and that way they can see a breakdown of that as well.
Right.
along with calendar alerts to say, hey, okay, here's a snapshot of what I got going on today. And the way this works is, since our CRM is, it's task driven. So if you have something that's due today, it'll show up on here. I mean, you can add appointments and add stuff on here, but if it's a task that you need to get done, it'll show up here, and then it'll send you a calendar appointment so you can save it to your Outlook or whatever.
Okay.
Now, it's got some warnings if you have some tasks that are past due or opportunities that are sitting in there with no next step. You know, we try to enforce good business practices, and business practices for sales is if you have an opportunity, you better have a next step next to it, or it's dying on the vine, you know. So we try to walk the walk within the software, right, or walk the talk within the software, and kind of enforce those best practices. You can see from here that there's history available right at your fingertips, so you can just go in. Well, I don't have any history on some of these items. Well, here's one, and you know, see what your next steps are, what your history is, right from your dashboard. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the menu options at a real high level, and what I want to be able to do is demonstrate what's in the software, but also how easy it is to navigate. Okay, because you mentioned the busyness with, well, one of those other products. I forgot the name of it. Oh goodness.
CRM.
Oh, say it was this page. Okay. Well, yeah. I hope you'll see that it's clean and easy to navigate and not busy, and I think you'll see that. And then what I'll do is I'll dive deep into a couple of these items, and we'll demonstrate some of the details that we bring in and how you can manage that data. So real quickly, we have the CRM module, and obviously from the CRM module, you can manage your leads. Right here, you can customize this so that you can change the columns and move them around, and it remembers you. Filter and sort, and it remembers your sort criteria. You can see history, you can see next steps, but you can also take action. Take action is you can add a task, you can add a next step. Sorry, that is a task is the next step. Add history, add documents. Okay, you know, like they submitted an RFQ or some specs or something, you can add them right here to the job, or a note. I love notes. I like to be able to, you know, after we're done with your demo, I'm going to take my notes and I'm going to put them in TopBuilder under your account. So I have the notes from the demo.
Right.
And that's kind of how that works. And you know how to manage, you know, accounts or customers. They can be, depending on the type of customer you are, you can categorize them into general contractors, building owners, property managers. You know, you have full control over your categories. So you can categorize your accounts any way you want.
Okay.
So if you're a sub and you want all your general contractors, you got them. If you want all the building owners, you got them too. So that's real cool. And again, you can take action right from here. And then, you know, we have a contact manager, and you can manage your tasks. I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We have your bids and your proposals. This is the big, powerful tool that allows our builders to manage multiple bids for the same job. And so you have a job, and then you have a bunch of bids going out against that job. And that's how they manage it. And that way, when they close out one of these and say, okay, I won this one, well, the other ones close out and say, well, not necessarily you lost it, but it wasn't awarded to your general contractor, so it's not really a loss or a win. It's kind of like it just fizzles out. But it's always there as history. It doesn't go away. And you want that for reporting purposes, because you want to be able to see all the bids that a GC is sending you, because they're your customer, and you want to know how many of, if this customer's sending me 100 bids a year and he's not awarding any to me, well, why not? So it's good information, even though it doesn't show up as a loss. It's good information that you're tracking that together. And it's real hard to keep up with. If you don't have a bid tracking system, you're trying to deal with this on Excel, or some of our customers use Access. It's near impossible to deal with,
Right.
especially on a big scale. So anyways, that's bid tracking. And then we have the proposal builder. And it allows you can manage all your proposals by customer and other means. I'm going to go into the proposal builder last. That's kind of the grand finale because that's the coolest thing. But then you also have a bid calendar, and this is one of those cool things where you have all your bids that you've got in the pipeline, and you can see who's working on them, when are they due, what's the job, what's the size of the job, the amount, and what's the status.
Right.
And then some of our customers want to see things on a job board, and a job board shows what's in the pipeline. They may look at, let me pull this report up for you. Where is it? This one. So you have a bunch of things in a pipeline, and this is showing revenue, but they also want to show labor, equipment, other things based on start and end dates, and things like that. So not just financial information, but they want to call it a job board. And a job board may be information that's only in CRM, not in Sage yet because it's not a real job yet, but also what's in Sage. And they'll be able to look at it and say, okay, this is all the stuff I've got going on. This is all the stuff I've got in the pipeline. Do we have enough resources? Do we need to hire? We've got this revenue coming in. Are we going to need to borrow money, or is this going to, they can make decisions off of this.
Right.
Now there's not a lot of demo data here, but you probably get the picture. Okay, then we have email marketing. I'm sure you know what email marketing is. Our approach is a little different. We allow you to go in, build out an email campaign, select a layout, target your emails to contacts. You may say, I just want this to go to general contractors and new construction. Okay. Add them to the list. Okay. Now I got them on my list. I can go build out my campaign, put some text, some images, some links, preview it, and it's put into their template or their branding. And we just presented this to a builder this morning, his electrical contractor this morning, and we did their branding for them, and they loved it. I mean, it was their branding instead of Top Choice Construction. It was their branding. They were excited. They thought it was super cool. And we do that work for them. That's part of the setup. And then, of course, they can send it, or schedule it. And then they track it to see who opened it, who clicked on links, if it bounced, if they opted out, whatever,
Right.
from the email. Typical stuff. And then, of course, we have reports, and we have tons of reports. We have canned reports. Canned reports are, of course, fixed, data columns and graphs and things like that. But all our reports can be exported to Excel or PDF right from here. And they look really, really good in a PDF format. And then you can also build your own reports. And our report builders are kind of in categories so that you're not overwhelmed with all the data fields that we possibly have in the database. If you're only dealing with sales activity, you can build out your own activity report. I want to see new leads, bids submitted, jobs awarded, and lost sales all on one report. I want to look at a count month over month for the year, okay? And I want to see who did it and what type of work was that. For all my new construction, I want to see how many bids did Dave submit. Okay, 22. How many jobs were awarded? 2. How many lost sales? 1. New leads? 16. And you can see here how they fell throughout the months. And then, you can build out your own reports by dragging and dropping, and you could even do this by the source of your leads. Like a lot of our builders, like we're working with one right now, they're buying leads from a third party that generates bid opportunities for them, and they send them to them. Well, you could put that on the report, drag the source column over here and say, all right, well, I want to see the sources of my leads. I don't care about the type. All right. And I want to see for each source, how many darn jobs am I getting? 7 for this source. That's pretty good for the year. We also have a lead source analysis report, but you get the idea. And then this goes out to Excel or PDF. Okay. And then we build custom reports for our clients, some custom like bid performance reports. So you're doing bid performance by estimator, by customer, by type of work, by industry, by project manager. We also had a request to do bid performance by source, which I thought was very interesting. So we're adding that to this. So you can analyze the performance of your bids. And then we have full exports. Friday, I was meeting with a customer and they wanted a very specific report. And they go, how do I get this report? Well, I showed them how to pull all their lead data into Excel. And then they had all the columns they need in here. And they go, wow, that's exactly what I need because I have everything I need on here. I'll just delete out the columns I don't want and the rows I don't want, and I've got my report. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Now we have the Content Center, and I'll talk about this a little bit. The Content Center is where you store documents and other content that goes on proposals or tasks or is just available in the cloud. So if I want to store all my information of my project managers that I put out on jobs, I can have their resumes in here or their profiles in here, or I can have a standard list of references in here, or insurance requirements that they may require on a proposal, or security clearance. A lot of people need security clearance information to allow you into the building. They do a background check or whatever, and you can put those in here. And then you can add them directly to proposals or put them on a task or just print them out right from here. I'll come back to that in a minute. The Help Center, this is really important for your customers, Mike, because the Help Center is not coming up because I didn't click on it. Allows you to have how-to guides and videos for everything in terms of training. But the real important thing here is that we have daily training classes that are live training, and that's comes with your subscription. So you can attend training classes every single day throughout the week at no charge. And then we have email support and we have phone support as well. And again, that comes with your subscription. Now, if you need on-site training, like I said, Erica is an awesome trainer and goes out there and teaches best practices and everything like that. He's available, but if you want to just get on some training and ask some questions or send an email, we got you covered there. All right, so what I'm going to do now real quickly is I'm going to drill down into one of these opportunities and show you all the information that we capture, okay, on one of these opportunities. And you'll see that this could apply to Digitek as well, where you have the customer information, you have all the contacts on the job, the probability, the status, the priority. You can break it down by type. So for our two different products that we have, we have the commercial product or the residential product, we set it by job type or lead type. And actually we break down our Sage customers. We call it TopBuilder CRM for Sage. And that's actually a different product type in our list because it is different, because it includes that interface. So it's a different kind of a sale for us. The person assigned to it, and you can reassign people, assign it to a division or territory, and then the source of the lead as well. We have all kinds of tags and what we call user-defined fields. There's unlimited user-defined fields for not only the opportunity, but the job. So there's user-defined fields for the job, and also contacts and also accounts. So you can set up your own user-defined fields. Now we have job details, the job number, and this job number is what synchronizes with Sage. So if we have a new job, we'll generate a job number for them, or we use their job number mask, send it over to Sage, it creates the job in Sage, and then we use that job number to keep it in sync moving forward, with updated start dates and end dates, revenue amounts, things like that. And so we have the job location, that'll go on your proposals, that'll go into Sage, and yeah, it's great. Bids and proposals, you can assign estimators because, builders have estimators that go out and do the takeoffs. Sometimes it's a whole department of people that are estimators. We have pavers as an example, and they have 5 estimators, and they're each bidding out about 10 to 20 jobs a week. And each one of those 5, so you have 5, let's just say times 7 times 50 weeks in a year. That's almost 2,000 jobs a year they're bidding out. And you can run those reports by estimators, bid performance by estimator or tasks by estimators. You can send alerts to the estimators to say they have jobs in their queue. You have a bid due date, bid submitted date, and then you can track multiple proposals for that opportunity. I'm going to come back to this and I'm going to drill down on one of these in a second. Now here's the follow-up. So the follow-up changes as you move their status through the process. So if I move them into bid submitted, Mike, you'll see that the follow-up changes right away. And now I have a new plan that may send them an email, right away. It may send them an email in 5 days to say, do you have any questions about your proposal? Here it is, or contact us. And then, you could have checklist items on here, like a review of, kind of a proposal review checklist. I'm going to go through the customer and I'm going to say, hey, is the price right? Do we have the right? Did we quote the right scope? You want to review it with your customers, make sure you covered all your bases, and that's what a checklist may be for. Same thing with preparing a quote. You have all your history, and again, this is everything from emails to phone calls. A lot of the history is automated. Like if you send a proposal, it'll automatically put an item in the history to say proposal sent. Same with emails, opening emails, clicking on emails. I can have notes, documents, and photos. Anything, any file you can put in here, whether it's an image or a PDF. Job history, which will come out of Sage. So I have all the job history in here for your customers, even if it didn't start in CRM. So we'll fill it up with the history, and then you can review job history for your customers and financial history if you want to. Now, hopefully, Mike, one day we'll connect to Sage estimating either basic, extended, or is it basic, standard, or extended estimating. And then we'll put their estimate history in there as well, right from Sage. We do interface with other estimating software, and so you see the estimate history in here from those third-party tools. Okay. Now, real quick, I don't want to keep you too long. We're bumping up against the hour, but let me just wrap it up by showing you the proposal builder. So I have a proposal. And what I can do is I can build out my proposal by adding documents to my proposal from either the Content Center, or I can grab a Word document right off my hard drive. But you can see that if it comes out of the Content Center or off your hard drive, it's got what we call database fields or merge fields embedded into it. And if you view it with sample data, you can see you can plug the customer name right in there. The proposal submitted date. This is kind of an old proposal, but You can put the, the proposal submitted date. This is a cover page. And then you can really add merge fields or database fields right from here by just selecting the field that you want to add, okay, and just adding it directly to the document. And then once you add the document to the proposal fills in the blanks for you. So I have a cover page, I have a cover letter on my proposal. Again, it fills in the blanks. And now we have a fully functional Word editor, so you can edit this document in TopBuilder with the Word editor. I can add Excel workbooks, and then the Excel workbooks can have data show up on the proposal itself. So what I'm about to show you is a range of Excel fields right here that came off of this worksheet, which is really cool. Okay, so not only my proposal includes fields out of the database, but it includes fields right off of an Excel worksheet too. And then I can add PDFs to it as well. Now when I go to generate this proposal, it's going to combine all the documents together into one really good looking document. Again, it fills in the blanks for me. With the information. This is the customer name, the customer contact, the job address. This is the job description, the job location, who's submitting the proposal, Ashley Lauren. You saw that Excel data. I do that in a lot of demos, so it shows up here in different places. And then I have the proposal itself, a breakdown of the costs maybe. And then I have the specs, okay, that they submitted. I have references that I also included, and then the resume of the project manager. And then I can email this out directly. And then once I email it out directly, I can track it to see if they received it or opened it. And then I also have the PDF attached to it. And you can see how good that looks, okay, with the actual proposal. So that's super cool. I can also add more information to the proposal if I want to add items, make it kind of big if you keep adding a bunch of documents, but you can do that. And then the contacts are connected to your database as well so that you can add them to the proposal as well. Okay, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Seems pretty flexible, right? So I'm thinking as you're showing me this, I'm thinking of two ways to look at it, right? From the actual person we're selling it to, so the construction, which you've kind of addressed, bids to multiple owners or generals or whatever that may be, tracking all of that, estimating the due dates. I like all of that because that's what they deal with all the time. I know reports are going to be big, especially one thing that, I don't know if you have this, but like if I have a lot of salespeople, like one of my subcontractors, Utah Engineering, they're a big HVAC company, and he wanted reports to see like close ratios of his salespeople's. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do you guys have stuff like that?
Yes. So those are the performance reports, and you can run it by salesperson or estimator or different things. So these are close rates, but then we also have what's called won lost reports. And this particular one's by division, but it can also be grouped by salesperson. So while you say Charlotte is the division, now I run this year to date. This may, just like we did for the performance reports, group this not by division but by salesperson, and then you'll show how many jobs you won, how many jobs you lost, and then what's the percentage closure rate, not just by number of jobs, but we like to also show it by the dollar amount too. So yeah, I mean, because that's important, because if let's say you're closing 90% of your jobs, but you're only closing the small dollar jobs. That's a big difference than the big jobs, right? So we like to show both dollars in terms of closure rates and the number of jobs.
On your service side of things, I noticed you have service specific. Are you guys going to integrate to Sage's service module? You know, they have that SSO. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't. But
So,
I'd love to integrate with it and learn more about it. That's something I'll ask when I'm out in the user conference this week. I'll ask about that.
yeah, get to know Sage Service Operations. They call it SSO, and it works with both the 100 and 300 product. But what it basically does is handles all the service work. So it's a cloud-based system that you can actually have a dispatch board where you're sending all those people out, scheduling them out, and it basically completes the work order in the field. Okay, so like I can say, here's the labor material I did on this job, this service job. That's all going to be coded to that work order that we bill for.
Right.
And the time actually goes to payroll. The reason why I still think you'd benefit is yours would be a good snapshot of all of the service work done. So I don't know if you talk to the service management, which is where the cloud SSO comes into the service management module in both systems. And that's where you're pulling your data for reports and the service kind of stuff. That's something you're going to want to look into because it's selling a lot, and you'll want your CRM, especially since you deal with service side of things, to be able to work with that some way or another.
I'm writing all this down, and the guys that really helped us get through the Sage integration are going to be there this week, and I'll mention to him. He'll be able to know right away how that will work, because he told me right away, with Sage 100 and 300 is an interesting little exercise because most of those implementations are on-premise, and so we have to integrate a little differently than if we're in the cloud. So he'll know. He'll tell me about it. I'll ask him. That's a good heads up. We're open to that, especially if there's ways to benefit our customers and also make, frankly, this a little bit more sticky to them. We want to do that.
Well, and they're going to they don't have what you have, like the marketing, right, out there to get the service work, to create maintenance contracts, to do all that.
Right.
So people are going to want what you have, and then they'll use the SSO or service management for the completion of that work and the billing of that work.
Right.
But you guys can be talking, you could be syncing customer information, history of that customer, all the service workers, the amounts, those can all sync. And all you have to do is not even talk to the cloud portion. You could just talk to the service management module, the on-prem module, which is where the cloud is talking to. So you're both talking kind of to the same module.
Perfect. Well, that's great. I mean, I appreciate the heads up on that. Yeah, I mean, certainly, there's a lot of Sage customers out there, and I think we'll benefit from doing that work. It's a good investment on our part. It helps our customers, and it helps us as well. So yeah, I'd be happy to look at that. And we did hire, by the way, I did hire a person that focuses on the Sage integration. So we have dedicated engineers working on that now.
That's good.
Yeah. All right, man. So, hey, can you get with Eric and work out the next steps in terms of, how we go to market and maybe introduce this to our customers or set up some webinars and, get the NDA and the reseller agreement or the referral agreement in place? And I mean, assuming this is what you like, if you want to move forward, then we're ready.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to do a couple things. I'll get you the NDA and all the documentation, and I'm happy to work with Eric as far as how to do that. I'd actually want to use the software internally if we're going to market to our existing database customers, on the CRM, so create templates, right? That CRM with your Sage 100, I know that's where you first integrate, so forth and so on. But is there a way I can kind of play around? Do you have a demo environment that I could kind of play around in and do it, because the other part of that is I have no doubt this will work for my construction companies and what they need, but I'm looking also internally for me, right? We don't have jobs as much as a job. What you're calling a job is just a lead with an opportunity to sell them software, right?
Right.
You have the follow-up work, which is what you're calling the service work or PSG. So there's some things internally to see, is this going to be a fit with the flows and the automation of marketing to my existing customers? And how do I take a lead that's, from Sage that says, hey, these guys are interested, and so much of our work is how do we get in front of them, right? Just the opportunity to talk to them on the phone or do the first demo, right? And then from there, what happens and follow-ups. And the proposal side's huge to me, because I need something that has a database of all of the items that we sell as far as the software modules, the pricing. So I'm just updating that one area, and then my proposal or thing has to be able to select those items, when I'm putting a quote together for somebody, saying, okay, here's the cost of your system, that we've talked about type thing.
Right.
So there's some specifics internally I'd want to see if this is a fit for us.
Yeah. So we use it ourselves, and we're selling software. So we can also coach you on how to set it up to work with that. And so what we do, so we look at, we have our different products that we sell and stuff like that, including additional services like custom reports, or we always do web contact forms so that they can capture their RFQs directly off their website and feed them into TopBuilder. We have all these things that they can do. But then what we do is when we get an awarded job or a contract, we treat it kind of like a construction project where we start the implementation is like the start of the construction project. So they sign up with us, they're under contract, and then the implementation is like a job. We set them up, we train them, and we have all these steps. We get them into a kickoff meeting and we walk them through what to expect. We set up their account. We do their branding of their emails. We load their proposals. We load their data. We connect the interface. And so those are like steps in a construction project. And then when all of that is done, that's like the job is completed. So it's kind of neat the way we've set it up. And so the first thing to do is get the NDA in place. And then what we'll do is we'll give you a login to our demo account. And then if you think it'll work for you, then we'll create your own account for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. I'll work with Eric. Eric, you sent me the NDA, correct? I may have lost him.
He's on. Yeah, he did, but I'll make sure he gets it to you again if you don't have it.
That sounds good to me.
All right, man.
Will you send me a copy of the recording too?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to stop it now.